From the Phantom Studio, somewhere south of Victoria Island, this is NQL. Not quite legal, not quite live, but definitely real. And I'm your host, David Miller, bringing you the news from music lovers on Facebook and Cypress Estates No Rules, also on Facebook. The best laid plans. So, anyway, the news is, today is March 18th, 2024. The time is 11:04 a.m. Arizona time. And I have dug into the archives for a new playlist. A lot of times when I do an archive thing, it's an arbitrary thing. I decide to just take something out of the archives and just arbitrarily pick one out. This time, for the last few weeks, I've been thinking about what I should post, what playlists I should do. And in my head keeps popping up, Do Children. Children is the playlist that I should be doing. And so after about 3 weeks of this, I finally decided, well, maybe God is trying to tell me something. So I decided that maybe it's time to take Children out of the archives and post it on the sites. Music Lovers and Cypress Estates No Rules. And my logic for this is, originally Children was inspired by the thought that the U.S. was in a civil war on many fronts. I've since updated that belief, that thought, that feeling, that it's not just the U.S., but it's the entire world. The whole world is in a civil war. And this war is being fought on many, many fronts. And it's a social war, it's an economic war, it's a political war, it's a spiritual war. I do believe that there are two main players controlling, that being good and evil. But it's like they're playing kind of like Stratejo, that war where each side, all sides are going for themselves in a multi-front war. And that's what I'm perceiving. We are at a huge worldwide war. It's a spiritual war. As I said, social, economic, political, whatever else. And unfortunately, the children are at the center. They're the pawns in this war. They're set directly in the crossfire. And I can't blame anyone without admitting my own part in this. I too am at fault in that there are some who are using the children as shields, as weapons. We see that all the time. See that in the sex change issue, the abortion issue, all these different issues. The children are being used as pawns in these battles, and these are all battles in the war. And I know there are many of you, who would say, I'm not involved in that. I don't do that. And you may be right. You don't do that. You don't commit abortion. You don't try to get your kids to have sex changes or you don't try to get kids to have sex change without parents' consent, whatever. But yeah, maybe you don't. I don't. I'm opposed to it. But on the other hand, you were right when you say, you don't do that. You don't do anything. I don't do anything. We all sit back and just complain about what's going on out there, what all those awful people are doing to our poor innocent children. And yet, you don't do anything about it. You just let it happen. Me too. I am guilty also. I cannot, in all good conscience, deny my part in this. In that I sit here and complain, and indirectly, that is an active part in using the children as shields, as weapons. And remember, the children are our future. One of those children that's being used as a pawn could one day be a president of the United States, or president of France, or the leader of Russia or China, or any other country in the world. One of those children could grow up to be another multimillionaire. And think about that. And I think about that, and it's sad to think. Some of those children that the abortionists so proudly brag about aborting will never have the chance to possibly be president or world leader or a wealthy person. That child could have grown up to support that person in their elder life, but now we don't know. So that's the point about this playlist. I reviewed that playlist last night, and I discovered to my surprise that many of the artists in their songs we were kind of on the same wavelength about this. So, bearing that in mind, I encourage you to listen to this playlist. It's not a long one. It's only 12, 13 songs long, maybe an hour. But I encourage you to listen to the lyrics on these different songs, to hear what these artists are saying, to hear what we all need to be hearing. So there you have it. That's the news from music lovers and Cypress Estates No Rules on Facebook. I'm your host, David Miller, and this is NQL. Not quite legal, not quite live, but definitely real.